Good evening. Welcome to the Oz and Mini podcast, episode 19. And of course, we are lovely joined by said co-host.
Yep, that's me. Hi guys.
And today we are going to be talking about trains. Yes, it would also work if I actually changed the title. On the podcast thing. But yes, today we'll be, as a follow-up to last week's podcast where we were talking about our experiences with plane journeys. This week, we shall be talking about train journeys. And obviously, this
We're
means...
accompanied by 3 other guests.
This
Yeah,
means
well,
that we will be talking about some good things.
absolutely.
Some good things, some bad things. It really depends on what we've had to experience. But first, we shall introduce our guests. We have, as from last week, Neo.
Hello. I have returned.
You have returned from a week of hibernation.
Quarantine.
We also have Celegorm.
Are we sure that's the real many?
I don't know.
Imposter.
And we have Hadley.
Hello.
And obviously, as we were talking about the train journeys, I'd like to go and ask first. One of the people that I know has travelled a lot. We'll go straight in to what is your worst journey that you've ever taken in terms of delays, cancellations, or just general experience. We'll start with Neo.
Oh god. There's a couple. I think my worst one probably would have to go to a journey quite late back from Reading in 2014. Don't know why I chose this day. It was a Saturday and Reading football team were playing. I was going back to my local station in Kingham and I went to the quiet carriage, assuming nice and quiet. Oh no. No. I mean, it wasn't terrible. I didn't get delayed at all, but just the fact that I was getting a headache and then hearing people screaming in the quiet coach at me was not great. But a more recent event was getting stuck in Nuneaton and not being able to get out.
I was there to witness this one.
Yeah, no, so Oz, you were fine. I was like, oh, XC are running a train to Birmingham New Street now, so I guess I'll be fine. I guess if I get the next one and see you off, it'll be fine. Oh no, XC ran the service to Birmingham New Street and then cancelled the rest of them, even though the line had been cleared. So yeah, basically I was stuffed and had to get on a very nice coach, which I will say it was quite nice being the only person on it. Bit of a waste on cross country's part, but
I'm guessing you got a personal taxi, basically.
I got a personal taxi that was like room for like 70 people, but like I mean it was great because I get to put my foot up on like in between the corridor. I sort of just leant us like against the window with my feet out.
And obviously the driver wouldn't care.
I mean, if we're talking about worst journeys in terms of quality, I mean, quality in terms of like general hygiene, then the worst one I've done is West Midlands trains any time. Because, not going to lie, if you've ever been on one to Walsall, but like if you've ever been on one to Walsall, you'll know what I'm talking about. There's always some twat that's left a Sainsbury's meal deal half eaten and squashed into the floor.
On one of mine, there was a whole cup of McDonald's like Coke and literally half the cup was spilled onto the seat. You could see the stain. Like it wasn't even, it wasn't even like see-through like normal stains would be after a while.
Ooh. I mean, Neo, coming back to your first journey with Reading Football Club,
Yeah.
it's not even, yeah. I've experienced the part. I mean, one time it was the partial disdain, and then another time it was the partial pleasure of traveling with football fans. Because one time, this was a while back, heading towards London from Nottingham, a journey that I no longer have to make at the moment. I had to get on a train. It was late evening. We finished Knots first. I was booked on a later train, heading home. At the same time, I think it was Stoke City were playing Nottingham Forest, I think. And what led to a very, very crowded train full of alcoholic football fans chanting, but with a lot of banging on the luggage racks, and it was noisy, annoying. But they then clashed with some Aston Villa fans at Derby, and I actually had a nice conversation with some Aston Villa fans. Slandering Coventry.
I
I
mean,
yeah.
I mean, we have a saying for that: "Don't ruin it with Coventry," which is kind of an out of context thing. But
yeah, I mean, Coventry. We because we shared a hatred of Coventry, considering I used to live in Coventry, and I didn't like living there. It led to one of them inviting me back to to watch the boxing. Unfortunately, I had to ride a Virgin to get home in London instead. The other time I
R.I.P. version trains.
Yes, and the other time I ended up on a southeastern train heading down to Charlton, so to Woolwich. Brentford were playing Charlton, and therefore I was stuck in a train full of Brentford fans. It's quite pleasant considering I support Brentford. And all I could think of is, damn, I wish I was actually on the train heading to the match. I think we won that game, so that was good.
actually, you know what, Oz? I need to actually add that the journey from Reading with the football fans actually wasn't terrible because I still had a HST for the way home. So at least it wasn't. At least it wasn't ironing boards to sit on for the way back.
I actually want someone to do ironing on those train seats.
I mean, maybe I should just get like a broken iron and just rub it along the train seats and take a photo or something.
That clipped out of context would sound terrible. I'd like to.
Let's do it.
I'd like to rub an
No.
iron against the seats.
No.
Seeing as you want to do it, Celegorm, tell us what your worst experience with train journeys are.
Does it have to be on the train, or can the station count?
I would say mainly the journey. Just the journey experience in
Alright.
general.
Let's see, my worst train journey. I have to think about this. I think my worst train journey ever would have to be on the Northern Line Underground from Morden to, well, I was getting off at Bank.
Which is a meme in
The
itself. I mean,
that in itself, pretty bad. Annoyingly long time on an underground train. Driveway. On top of that, there was two guys literally sitting in the next half of the compartment, so almost opposite side of the train. And they were both giggling like absolute children. And normally I would find that funny, except they were also banging on the things and they tore down some of the ads and threw one at me.
Oh, aggressive.
that is my worst train journey so far.
I'm surprised that I've not experienced this on Night Tube.
To be fair, I could add on to cursed experiences on the London Underground. Coming back from a certain city in China, we're not going to name it, but I had to get the Piccadilly line to Euston. Well, let's just say I didn't make the Virgin. I literally ran to the platform and then saw it pull away and started internally sobbing.
Yeah.
No,
And then had to leg it to Victoria, but that was another story.
fair enough. Unfortunately, my worst experience, that wasn't that bad because I was able to get off the stop after they did that. My worst experience has been on the train platform, but it involved me being sassy, so I guess it's a win-win.
Well. Next, we're gonna go with Hadley.
Hello.
What has been your worst train journey that you've ever experienced?
Well, I live in the north of England, what's renowned for shit trains and a shit train service.
As if the accent didn't give it away.
Northern.
I'm not actually born in the north. I'm actually from Portsmouth. But yeah, northern. And I use them quite a lot. As you know, in the north, there's only really two train companies, Northern and Transpennine Express. So, if I don't want to get Northern on one route, my only other choice is Transpennine Express. In the north, Transpennine Express is probably the best one we have. But compared to other operators, like in the south, they're lacking a little bit when they put a 3-carriage train on a route what serves many major towns and cities. But my worst journey was on Northern. I was only making a 10-minute journey from Meadowhall to my local station, which is literally 2 stops up from Meadowhall. It was about 10 o'clock at night. It said the train had been cancelled, not specifying a reason why. So I tried using the help point to see what was going on. They weren't answering the help point. I don't know if they go home at a certain time, the people who answer it, but the ticket office was closed as well. And then it said the train after was on time, and then when the train afterwards, which was luckily scheduled to be 10 minutes after, when it was supposed to arrive, it suddenly flashed up cancelled. And then that was the last train of the day. Then, at 1 o'clock in the morning, so I was waiting at Meadowhall 3 hours, trying to get hold of Northern with a load of other passengers. That's the reason I didn't call for a taxi and get them to pay for it, was because there was loads of other passengers and I didn't know if to put a bus on. In the end, they did put a bus on, which only did stations up to Barnsley, even though they cancelled a Leeds train and a Huddersfield train. And then they had to run a different bus from Barnsley to Leeds and Huddersfield. So I was waiting 3 hours for a coach to turn up because 2 trains got cancelled in a row for literally no reason given. And I still don't know to this day why they were cancelled. That's probably the worst one I've had. Another bad one, what I saw once, was a Transpennine train at Manchester, and it was really busy. I was going to get on it, but it was so busy I thought no. And there was staff, literally like the Japanese crammers, trying to shove them onto trains, which I was like, is that even allowed in the UK? But they were anyway. 3 carriages, that train would have been serving Doncaster, Sheffield, Manchester Airport, quite a few major towns and cities in between, and they just put 3 carriages on. So we don't have many carriages in the north.
I mean, to be fair though, that's been the standard for Transpennine for quite some time. Thank God, they've got their new rolling stock, which now have 5 carriages.
Yeah, they've got new rolling stock, but not on my route. Although what they have done with the displaced rolling stock from the other routes, they've put them on my route to give me like 2 3-car trains joined together. So most of the times when I get Transpedine, it's 6 cars now.
That's good.
Yeah.
And we hope, therefore, we don't have the same scenes that we saw that you saw at Sheffield. I think was it Sheffield?
Oh, with the shoving up those in Manchester, that Manchester Piccadilly.
Oh, ooh.
Yeah.
Talking of Manchester, Minnie,
Yeah.
tell us about your journey to Manchester.
Oh
Okay.
my
What
god.
would be your journey to Manchester had cross country done
That was
something right?
definitely, yeah, that was definitely the last one. I was actually going to see Hadley. Wow, such a coincidence. Yeah, I showed up for my train, cross country. You know, it was a 2-hour long train all the way up to Manchester. And it was obviously cancelled because why would you even run a train from Cardiff to... Is it even from Cardiff? I have no idea.
Usually
Probably.
they'll be from Cardiff,
Yeah, probably.
or Newport,
It
or Bristol.
never left Cardiff, to be honest. Well, back to Manchester. So I went to the ticket guy and was like, hello, what do I do? And they just said, get on the next one to New Street. And from New Street, there's one that there's one that goes up to Manchester from New Street that was gonna leave like basically I had a 2-minute connection at New Street. So I was like, sure, might as well. If I get stranded here, I'll just wait for the next one from my station, which was an hour later. So I got to New Street and sprinted with a couple other passengers who'd done the same thing as me. Yeah, and none of us ran fast enough. It was literally impossible. I could have been Usain Bolt and I wouldn't have made it. So...
See, I told you it's not the real Minnie, it's Usain Bolt.
Yes, sorry. I'm Usain Bolt, guys. And I still didn't make the train. That didn't matter, though we had to wait an hour. Yeah, for the next one, which was actually coming. And then it came, and then I got on. And then I met Hadley an hour and 15 minutes later than planned. But our day didn't end there.
We ran for the train to Nottingham.
We were then going to Nottingham, and you know, we got a bit caught up and lost slight track of time and didn't realise how far away the station was. So after a lot of sprinting and a lot of cursing, we missed the train. I got on a different one, which went the same place but different route. I know Hadley's literally a legend of trains and I'm not, so...
Wait,
And I made it.
Hadley, did you take her on the East Midlands one instead of the cross country, I'm guessing, or something like that?
From Manchester to Nottingham, the only direct train is East Midlands.
So I was thinking, how comes Minnie caught up on a different route?
Wait, what do you mean?
I'm guessing Minnie got on the train. What, the train after, or something like that?
They were leaving.
I'm not
They were
sure.
basically departing like within 2 minutes of each other. And because we missed that one, we sprinted all the way to the station because it had to be the furthest platform away because it couldn't be the closest, could it?
That's because the train for that train starts at
We
Liverpool.
ran on as the
Yeah.
doors were closing, and the guy like held it open for us so we could get on.
That's
And he
good.
checked the
I'm
people to go.
very familiar of that train.
Same.
Yeah, that was like a lot of running at train day. I got very fit that day, can I just say?
I mean,
Never been fitter in my life.
For me, I think the single worst situation that I've been in. I mean, I travel around the country quite a lot, but I'd say the worst situation that I've been in involves said East Midlands train service. This time it was starting from Liverpool, and I was heading home from a meetup at Liverpool. Because the last London Midland train was quite late, quite early, I had to catch a train, East Midlands trains, from Liverpool Lime Street to Warrington Central. Change from Warrington Central to Warrington Bank Quay, which is a 12-15 minute walk. Then head on a Virgin train service. If I'd missed that Virgin train service, there would have been another Virgin train service, but then I would have missed my last train to Coventry, which is where I lived at the time, I think, or that was just the last Virgin trains. Either way, managed to leave about 15 minutes prior to the train sort of like departing. Turns out Liverpool had just finished. Liverpool had a match and they just finished. So there was a load of people that got on my train. I managed to squeeze onto that train, and it was incredibly cramped. We left late, and slowly as the time went on, due to the fact that we were quite slow because of the amount of people having to get on and get off at Liverpool South Parkway and another station, I think, we ended up being quite slow, leading to a massive delay by the time we got to Warrington. And I was supposed to get from Warrington Central to Warrington Bank Quay, and the time was supposed to be, let's say, I have to get there in like 10 minutes. I was basically the closest to lost that I'd ever been. I couldn't afford a taxi to get round to the other station, and first thing I found was a bus station. Asked the first bus that was about to leave, "Hey, do you go to Warrington Bank Quay?" And he said, "No, but I can take you to close enough there." And I'm like, "Sure, I'll take it." Got on that bus, paid the fare, got to Warrington Bank Quay, ran to the station, and I knew that if I'd gotten there by the time I'd gotten to Warrington Bank Quay, if the train was on time, I would have made it by a minute. The train was delayed. So the fear of me missing the last Virgin train was now gone, but it was edging towards me missing the last train from Birmingham New Street to Coventry. But luckily enough, the train wasn't delayed as much as it could have been, and I got on the train and I got home to Coventry and walked home safe and sound at about 1 o'clock in the morning. But I would say that is the worst single journey that I've ever had. But I do have other experiences, which include the numerous times. I think Neo definitely knows about this. Numerous times I tried to get home from Birmingham. Booked a certain train, the 21:30 service from Birmingham New Street down to London Euston. This train starts at Edinburgh, I think, or Glasgow. Either one of them. And every single time I've tried to get that train, it gets delayed en route somewhere in the north. Do you remember? I think, Nia, do you remember the one time we were tracking it, and it's like it's supposed to be, let's say, I think it's supposed to be a Crewe, and it hadn't left Carlisle.
Well, I still remember the fact that I was standing in New Street Station just watching all of the screens end up saying cancelled. And then I remember you explicitly saying, "Well, at least I've got delay repay," and at the end of it wasn't that much.
Because what had happened is they put Avanti's delay repay put me on the earlier train, which arrived on time. Which actually arrived on time. Actually, by the way, the train time was 21:10, not 21:30. I got on the 21:30 both times, which is a train that starts at Wolverhampton, and got to Birmingham New Street before my delayed ex-Scotland train. And I got I got really small delay repays as a consequence. Wasn't it £1.70, £1.39 or something like that?
I think so. Like, isn't processing the payment more expensive than that?
I mean, I wasn't paying for it.
No, exactly. Which is good. Make the company suffer.
Make the
Even though
company suffer.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that it was NR's fault. So
Yeah, I think it was an overhead wire problem both times. The first delay
that's no
I think
surprise.
there was a December one. The December delay repay was £5.45, which isn't too bad. The other delay repay, which was the second time I tried to do, was £3.13. So it was bad, considering that I'd gone to the extent of going to Birmingham to meet up with a load of friends, get back home. I try to get home, and I always get the train delayed. Actually, Nia, do you remember the time when I was delayed that another one of our friends was trying to get to Marston Green?
I think so. Yeah.
Like their train hadn't left for so long, we actually managed to go down, and we got on the train and told the passengers the train was cancelled, and then the train was cancelled.
And they said, "Is the train cancelled?" And then the announcement came on, and the train's cancelled.
I think they train hopped like 4 times just to get on a proper train.
I think they did. Didn't they get on a Transport for Wales one or something? I'm pretty
No,
sure.
they ended up on London Northwestern. But the issue is because they had to get to Marston Green.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, they could have always gone National Express.
Or bus. That's worse. That's worse. But we're not here to slander companies. We're here to slander our journeys. And
what's the difference?
The difference is sometimes it's not the company's fault. Sometimes it's the fault of
the people who are high ripping off you.
Yeah, or sometimes it's the fault of unfortunate events. This does happen.
Unfortunate event being Network Rail.
Yeah, Network Rail, definitely.
What happened to not slandering companies?
Network Rail's the government. Technically.
I mean, we can sort of slander them off a little bit. I mean, look what they did with Waterloo the other day, where like platforms 1 to 15 were out of service. As if South Western Railway wasn't bugging enough already.
I know South Western Railway. I know Minnie definitely has some experiences with South Western Railway.
Yeah.
All of my experiences of South Western Railway.
Do you remember the journey to Portsmouth?
You know, that's so ironic because Finn, who was on that journey, just texted me saying my worst train journey was a return journey from Portsmouth on your birthday.
It was my birthday.
That is uncanny timing.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain it?
Actually, Minnie, I want you to explain your journey down to Portsmouth, because do you remember the rail replacement bus service?
Oh my gosh, okay, right. Rail replacement bus services are normally buses, or at least you would expect them to be buses. So I waited, it's what, 6:30 in the morning, if that, because there aren't any trains, because engineering works, you know, as you do. So I got this, okay, it was literally a minivan. It had about 6 seats. It was a minivan. Rocked up 10 minutes late. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to miss my train at this point. I thought I was going to be kidnapped, but it's fine. It was actually the bus. It had a little A4 piece of paper that said the number of the bus on it. Not that that mattered to me. I just asked them if it was going to Guildford, is that where I got?
It would have been Effingham Junction, I think.
No, I think it was.
No, I
Yeah, it was
think
Effingham.
it was
I think.
Effingham, yeah.
And he said yes, so I got on. It was just me in the minivan, and oh my god, I have never seen anyone in my entire life drive so quickly. I thought we were going to take off. I thought we were going to fly there.
It's the magic school bus.
Except it was about a third of the size of a school bus. This was literally just a car. So yeah, I got there about 5 minutes early for my train. After we could have been 10 minutes late. So, breaking the law, look, it's not my problem. I had my seatbelt on. Trust me, I thought I wasn't going to make it. But anyways, I got on, changed it, Guildford, and headed to Portsmouth.
Oh yeah, you had to run through Guildford as well. I remember that.
No, I didn't have to run.
Hey.
I had enough time to change.
That's good. And as you were talking about earlier, Finn's experience was, I think the worst train journey would have been his way back down into London to try and get home to Nottingham. What had happened was, ignoring the speeding prior to getting on the train, because my friends wanted food. But we got on the train, we headed up to, we were going to go to Waterloo. Our train was diverted between Woking and Clapham Junction because of engineering works. So, got on the train, it's fine. We've got about a 5-minute delay, there's no harm, it's fine. Then what happens is we get to Woking. Sure, we get delayed a little bit, we think. Then we just keep on waiting. And waiting. And waiting. And it passed the threshold of delay repay. Now, Finn had to try and get a coach from Victoria back to Nottingham that night. And the time went past so slowly. By the time we left, we were about 25 minutes late, if that. South Western Railway, thank you very much, because that led to him running so late. He missed the coach. He would have missed the coach anyway, because he was still on the train by the time the coach left Victoria. And he then tried to get a train to Victoria to try and get another coach up to Nottingham. That failed, and unfortunately, that meant that he was basically stranded in London for the night, with no refund possible for the coach, and a shed load of money having to pay for the following day's train journey. But he did get home eventually in Nottingham, quite late, but a day late nearly. But hey, that's what happened, South Western Railway. And finally, we got another guest that got in, Teisj.
Hello, I've come back.
And yes, Teisj from the previous podcast. We want to know what is your worst train journey that you've ever experienced.
Avanti West Coast. Actually, no, it was Virgin at the time.
Hey.
I will say for the record now, I have probably never got an on-time train from Birmingham New Street, and this is a further example of one. So I was coming back from Birmingham. It was like 8. The good thing about New Street is that they always put the London one to like the nice platforms. So I was on 1. And I was like, oh, we're feeling good today. Absolutely mobbed platforms. I don't know what was going on. It was a Glasgow train because the new timetable were shite like that. And it pulls in, we're on time, we get on the train. It's kind of busy, but I got my seat. I'm pretty happy with it. And, we're just getting ready to leave, close the doors. move about 2 inches. It stops, so we're like, oh, okay, that's not good. Not having a good time here. It's about 10 minutes late. We're like, okay, this kind of like, all right, I guess. It's 20 minutes late. Oh, it's kind of risky. 40 minutes late. It's like, yes, we have been sat at Birmingham New Street for 40 minutes. We missed 2 other Birmingham trains. It leaves an hour late, which is a bit annoying.
Do we know what happened at the end? What happened to the train?
Turns out someone thought it'd be a good idea to drop something on the overhead wires at New Street
At that exact moment.
at that exact moment.
Ouch.
Um,
And
so,
no one tried to inform you to get on the other train.
No, because they were just like, oh yeah, your tickets aren't valid on any other service if you've got an advance ticket. It's just like, that's fun. Love that. So it got into London an hour 43 minutes late.
And how's the delay repay?
£4.25.
Out of?
£6.50.
Painful.
They paid me such a random percent.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as bad as my paltry Vanti refunds when I used to get consistently delayed. When I say consistent, I mean it was genuinely 2 trains out of 2 in 2 months.
Oh god.
Thanks, Brumfers. But yeah, overall, I'd say, yeah, that's painful, to say the least. I mean, to be fair, we've also talked about so far we've talked about our worst journeys. Virgin coming in twice.
I've just remembered one. So if I was to have said the one I just remembered, Woking would have been mentioned twice.
Hey.
Do you remember that time where I got stuck on a train directly to Woking, and I was screaming it in the Telegram chat?
Oh, was it to see someone at the station just before?
No, I was on my way home towards my station, so I had to get off at Clapham and then get rail replacement buses. Except the doors didn't open at Clapham. Any of the doors in all of the train. Literally, there were like 15 people running from the train when we got to Woking to platform 3, and only half of them made it. I was luckily one of them, but my bag did get caught on the door.
At least you got there.
Barely.
But yeah, as I was saying, we've had bad experiences, but obviously, you know, sometimes train journeys can be good. Sometimes. I mean, obviously, a good train journey would obviously mean you'd be on a train that's on time. But I'd say, is there
HST.
any? Oh yeah, with definitely good trains sometimes. But I'd say, what would be the single best? Obviously, we've been on with the worst. What would be the single best journey that you've ever had on a train? Best journey, single best journey. You'd have to try and figure it out straight away. I'll start with someone who hasn't had enough luck with trains. We'll go with Minnie. What would you say is the best journey you've ever had? Everything just ran smoothly.
It would probably be my most recent journey to Nottingham. One, because there was the virus scare, so there was literally no one on it. But also because nothing went wrong.
And it was cross country.
It was cross country. But so was the one to Manchester. I didn't get a seat for 2 hours, so.
Did you also get Did you also get tea?
No, I didn't get tea.
They have
Didn't get
catering
any
trolleys.
snacks.
Aww.
There were no trolleys. There were none.
Aww.
Bear in mind, this was 2 weeks before the UK had a little isolation zone. The virus was definitely going round. We definitely didn't have trolleys.
They had trolleys on some of those services. I'm guessing you just caught out on one of the services that didn't.
Well, they weren't even allowed to touch tickets, so I don't know how they were going to be handing out drinks.
Oh, it was
Just
that time. Oh, it was that time. It was that far.
Yeah.
That's already
It
happened.
was I think it was a lovely trade. So I was just no wrong. I just love how it goes forwards and then backwards at Derby. That makes me really happy. I don't know why. I don't it's someone else.
And as you like going back, no. I'll next go with who would have had the best journey that you've ever had on a train. We'll go next with Hadley.
The best journey I've had on the train. I've had quite a few notable ones, but I think the best one I've had, the one where I've just been sat on the train grinning, it wa it's kind of like both, really. Like on the way down and on the way back was last time I went to London, so it was just over 2 weeks ago, and it was with East Midlands Railway. Um, on the way down, I don't know if it counts, but I went in first class. The breakfast on East Midlands Railway are really good. I find the staff are really, really polite, and I think they're really helpful with stuff like information and that. The train was literally perfectly on time, and I've done that journey 3 times now on the same time trains, perfectly on time. Um, and on the way back, I asked a member of East Midlands Railway staff if I could have my picture taken in front of a HST, which was my train back, in fursuit. And the guy looked at Hadley and he was impressed. He loved it. And he was asking me questions about Hadley and that. And he said, you'll have to ask the train manager to take a picture. And because he had a radio, we managed to radio through to the train manager. I'm not sure why the train manager had a radio. Maybe they carry them when they're prepping the train for departure. And he radio back saying, yeah. So I got to have the picture taken in front of a HST in fursuit. And to be honest, it's my favourite fursuit picture. But London St Pancras Station as well, considering it's quite high security, really, and there might be
It's
funny
got
about you
customs in
covering
it.
face. Yeah.
Wait, what
'cause
station has customs in it?
St Pancras.
St
It's
Pancras.
got Eurostar.
Yeah. So it's quite a high security station, really. And I didn't know if there'd be jobs with twat and not let me have my picture taken because I'd be covering my face, but they were nice about it. They were impressed with my fursuit. They were asking questions. I thought the staff for East Midlands Railway were all very nice, and my train on the way back was bang on time. And it was an added bonus that coming back, it was a HST.
That's good. I mean, that's lucky that you got very nice staff at St Pancras.
Yeah.
And I know the picture of you in fursuit is on Twitter. I'm guessing. Yeah,
It is, yeah.
I've seen
I did
it.
leave East Midlands Railway a nice comment about my experience.
I do think that is one of your best fursuit photos, personally.
Thank you so much. I think it's probably the best one I've ever had.
And I obviously commend the staff of St Pancras to allowing you to have that opportunity as well as
Yeah.
obviously the staff of East Midlands Railway to
Yeah.
overall.
I tried having a fursuit picture in front of a train at Leeds station once. They threatened to call the police on me. And they started asking me lots of questions like, where are you going? Why are you in Leeds? And I was like, I'm just in Leeds for a fur meet. They were like, what's a fur meet? Basically, people who are dressed in like mascot costumes, a meeting of them. Like we make our own characters. Where have you come from? I've come from Sheffield. And they were like on to me when I was leaving the station as well. The security, so I found them to be quite hostile at Leeds. They weren't impressed at all. I mean, the guard of a train, it was a Northern service, did say yes, because I did ask the guard on a train to have a picture in front of it. It was a pacer, back in the days of 142s. And the guard said yeah, but security said no. Yeah.
But yes, as I say, I definitely commend the staff of East Midlands Railway and indeed the staff of St Pancras for allowing you the opportunity to have that. We'll go next for the best journey that you've ever had. We'll go straight through to the person that likes London North Western Railway, Teisj.
Surprise, surprise. My favourite journey's not on London North Western.
Shock horror.
It's on Northern. It was a sprint.
Even more shock horror.
That's crazy. It was Leeds to Victoria, Manchester, Victoria.
Via Todmorden.
Yeah, via Bradford. Because apparently I just didn't read where it was going. But yeah, so we were basically I've been to Leeds and hadn't had a very fun time because it turns out if you don't know what you're doing in Leeds is quite boring. So I'd already pissed off to York for 2 hours, so I was like, oh, okay, we're just gonna go to Manchester now. So I got on. It was like middle of summer, so it was really hot, but like I had all the windows open. The train was virtually empty. Like it was just me, my friends, and then like a couple other passengers, and then the guard. And the guard was so funny because he kept coming over the announcements, just making jokes about everything. Everywhere we went, it was just
Those are the best.
So nice.
Those are the best kind of guards. I once had one who promoted his wife's music album.
Was that Southwestern?
Yes.
Hey.
There's just that one guard from Southwestern who's like, I've got to promote music. Come on, let's go. But yeah, no, the guy was really nice. And considering the journey was like £2.50, it was just it was really beautiful because you go through Pennines and whatnot. Yeah, it was just a really nice journey. Yeah, so that's my favourite one. There you go.
I was about to say you missed the greatest part of the Pennines, or really the South Pennines, or really just barely touching the Pennines. Penistone. Penistone is a really nice place.
Penistone is Penistone is the name of one of the multiple seas.
I mean, I've been there once. It was really nice. Shame Wood Headline is closed. But yeah, definitely. We commend the staff of Northern, especially for that. Your experience there. Like, I mean, as well, we commend the staff of Northern for giving Hadley the opportunity to attempt a photo at Leeds. As well.
And also congratulate the Southwestern Railway to having the funniest guard ever who promotes music 24.
I'd say it's not the funniest guard that I've had, because I know I've had a few that have. I think it was like comparing. I had a Virgin guard comparing traveling on a Virgin train with a London Midland ticket to ordering a Whopper at McDonald's.
Wait, what? A Whopper at McDonald's?
Yes, the idea is it's like having a London Midland ticket on a Virgin train is like trying to order a Whopper at McDonald's. You're not gonna get through.
Thank God for that. I thought you said it in a different context. I had a heart attack then.
I tweeted both companies and they both joked about it. So that's one thing I do miss about the two companies.
Yeah.
But next we're gonna go to Celegorm, talking about your guard story on Southwestern Railway. Was that, I'm guessing, is your best journey, or do you have something that's better than that? Celegorm?
You did, Mom?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can hear me. Cool. My internet sometimes. So basically, no, that isn't my best journey. It is a great one, and it has made me forget my best journey. So, okay, what was my best journey? My best journey, I believe it was on a southwestern from I was going Rains Park to Kingston. And basically I got on in one of those, is it the carriages near the guards that have the 2 rows facing each other?
Yeah.
I believe so. But either way, I got on one that has the racks facing each other, and literally on the opposite side from me was this pair of lovely old ladies. One of them was kind of very tired, very just kind of head down, just humming to herself. The other one was trying to with her. She noticed I sat down opposite from her, and she gave up on her friend and started talking to me. And we had a lovely conversation about the cinema and about how the different movies that were coming out. Apparently, I was going to see Jojo Rabbit, and she had seen this love went to see Jojo Rabbit, and she did it with her.
We apologise for the network.
Damn, internet's annoying.
So I'm guessing the old lady had just seen Jojo Rabbit, and you were about to see.
Yeah, she saw Jojo Rabbit the day before, not with kids or anything. She saw it with her and 2 of her friends.
Hey.
So
no judging.
Not judging. It's just very interesting. And yeah, so we had a lovely conversation about it, and and I asked her to tell me without spoilers her most favorite part of the movie, and we got along about that. So
That's
yeah,
good.
it was really that was a very nice journey. Nothing special like.
It's just
like,
one that sticks in your mind
yeah.
because of the humanity of it. Just
Yeah.
yeah.
But then again, that does happen to me and my dad. We have those faces where people would just want to talk your life story about her to us. Which, if there's a podcast about interactions, I definitely need to tell that story.
Oh yeah, well, we've got probably quite a few podcasts lined up, but yeah, it is something I like to see because it's something different. It's like it warms your heart. If you know what I mean, it definitely does.
Because
And-
you'll always be surprised how homely and interactive people can be if you just have a small thing in common, like a single movie, and sitting right across from each other on a Southwestern Railway train that's about 15 minutes long.
Hey.
Well, not even that.
We'll next go to Neo. What can you describe as your best journey you've ever had?
This is going to be controversial.
Is it a Vanti?
No, it's not Vanti. Despite the fact that the first class is quite nice, it's still it's not going to be what my favourite journey of all time is.
Go on.
So, number one, if I had to review a talk, number one, Chiltern is the best, but I will have to cut this talk some slack here because I really enjoyed this journey. Going from Reading to it was Dawlish in Cornwall,
Great
and
Western.
then
It's in Devon.
Great Western Railway, yeah. Well, first Great Western it was back then when I actually did this. When like they didn't have IETs and they had good trains.
What are you saying?
You know what I'm saying.
You know exactly what you're saying.
Basically, my
There's me who doesn't.
I went down. I went down on it, and it sticks in my mind mainly because of just how. I mean, it might be that I was a kid, but I just remember it being so much fun because we had reserved seats, but I ran to the end of the train just to listen to the roar of the HST. And I mean, this is a nerdy kid you're talking about, so like, you know, this is something I was going to do. I mean, when we got to Dawlish, though, went to the we went to the place we were staying at, and then a while later, we got on a pacer. This is a separate journey, but we went down to Paignton and took the steam railway. So that overall best journey I've done in a while. It's going to take a lot to beat that. Commuting journeys, there is nothing like a Chiltern, but best journey just for scenery and just for everything when first group actually gave a shit about their service.
Hey,
basically.
before the travesty of what we've got now.
I mean, not going to lie, but the HSTs, despite the fact that it was being operated by First Great Western, it was still really nice for me to travel on a HST that long distance, and just to have I mean, it's mainly because I'm kind of a what's the word? They're my favourite trains anyway. I'm sad seeing them go, and I have nostalgia for them. So
I mean, they're all down southwest now, aren't they?
yeah, well,
You can
Kind
still
of
get one.
kind of feels like this podcast is made for me and Minnie to just silently judge all of you.
I mean, you can do that. You can do that with what you like, but until you experience going down to Dawlish and then getting on a pacer to do the rest of it.
But will we experience it?
I mean,
I mean,
not the well,
not the HST bit, but
Not the
definitely,
HST,
I'd say going down to Cornwall on train, and the views down there are absolutely spectacular.
the sea wall before
Except
it got
part.
breached. The
Yes,
sea wall
the sea
is
wall.
honestly the best part. Like, okay, we'd walk along it, and obviously the trains are right next to you, so there's me train spotting all the time. But then I kept riding up and down it on a pacer just because it was so much fun.
I mean,
But
what about HST when your head slightly out of the window, not enough to hurt yourself, but just slightly out, and you just watch the seaside just go past you. It's an experience.
I will say the experience that you can actually put the window down and stick your head out of it. It might be that I want to act like a bit of a dog, but I mean, I mean,
Furries, that's us.
I mean, that might just be a thing that comes with a furry fandom. But honestly, trains with windows that you can put down, stick your head out of, great idea.
That does sound like something I want.
Just because the sea, you can smell the sea, and you're on a train speeding down towards the rest of Cornwall.
It's absolutely fantastic.
It's great.
Especially when, I mean, to be fair though, the only time I did the Dawlish seawall properly, I love it how one of the times I did it was on a cross country HST, and the other time I did it was hauled by a Class 57. Basically, one of the locos that they used they used locomotives to haul the sleeper trains, and they
the
just so
Night
happens.
Riviera.
Yes, and they just so happens one time that they have also a day service using some of their coaches to go back along to Exeter, and I managed to catch one of them, and it was pretty much a good experience. But I'd say my best journey, none of those. My best journey, to be fair, I'd say in terms of long distance, in terms of the experience, was getting a surprise first class discounted offer for a first class upgrade on, at the time, Virgin Trains East Coast.
I think you told me about this before.
This is the time I went to Newcastle.
I mean, not gonna lie, that is good.
Newcastle on a for the train nerds, it is a Intercity 225 Mark IV coach. For the non-train nerds, the old trains, the electric old trains.
Still doesn't help.
The better ones.
What happened was I got a massive discount on the first class upgrade from what would have been quite a few £100 and something down to £25. A £25 upgrade on on a service to Newcastle, what happened was I got on the train, really nice, polite, kind sort of like train guard sat down and say, right, we accept this email offer that you got. Sit down. I'll sit down with you, and we'll sort out the payment and stuff. So once the train set off, we sat down, dealt with the pay. He found the ticket, the first class upgrade ticket, and I paid him. Great. We had a chat about what I was going to do on that day, which was mainly quite just exploring the Tyne and Weir. Because I bought the train ticket on a Virgin Trains East Coast sale, so these were quite cheap tickets as well. On top of that, anyway, and you think, all right, first class is great. Then it comes to the fact that you've also got a fully cooked English breakfast. A fully cooked English breakfast, cooked to order, on LNER. Now, I'd experienced breakfast once before, and it was on Virgin Trains on a first class ticket from London Euston to Coventry, but because it was a shorter journey, I'd only managed to get a warm sausage roll, and I raided the first class lounge for obvious reasons. Because free stuff, and when you're a student at uni, free stuff means make the most of it. You agree with me, Neo, because you've done it as well.
I do agree with you. If any of you aren't in university yet, make sure you get all your discounts while you can, because honestly, it's just the best thing. It's just the best thing, getting free stuff.
I'm getting all the big discounts already. We're all good.
Free travel until September.
It's not just that, it's just the fact that when you get to the free first class lounge, you get free food. I know Virgin do good.
Did.
Well, to be fair, Avanti continue on most of the offering. So the Avanti service, they do good shortbread. They have a fridge fully stacked of whites, lemonade, and a few other things, and unlimited hot drinks.
See, I didn't know that you could, like, if you had a first class ticket, you go to the lounge after your journey.
Yes,
I didn't clock this.
I found this out by reading the terms and conditions of what I used to do on the way home from Coventry. Is when I had a first class ticket, I'll go straight to the lounge, and you're allowed there for an hour. And I just again raided the hell out of everything that was free, because I wanted to fill up on food and stuff. But anyway, back to the Virgin Trains East Coast journey. This was early 2018. And it was an early morning journey. I looked completely out of place because I was dressed very casually. It was a weekday, and everyone else was sort of either dressed business-like or was going to work. And what I found was the staff were, pretty nice, very good personally. Got served the breakfast on a trolley. They said, "Do you want any?" When I say trolley, they took down my order. They brought it in on a trolley with the choices of toast. We got choices of toast, choices of tea and coffee. They continually topped us tea and coffee. I had 2 servings of toast, because the first serving of toast was with my breakfast, and the second serving of toast was with just like they were getting rid of the rest of the stuff afterwards when we were getting closer to Newcastle. So I managed to get 2 toasts with 2 different marmalades that I didn't use, but I also got butter with it, so I had buttered toast. It was really warm, really nice. So by the time I got to Newcastle, I felt stuffed. I didn't have to purchase food for most of that day, which meant I saved quite a bit of money towards the end anyway. And I'd relaxed. I got my tea. I think it was Yorkshire tea, because they put on Yorkshire tea no matter what. And overall, that was a great journey. But certainly the first class experiences on Virgin Trains at the time, pretty good. And for the non-first class journeys, I'd say a a good experience would definitely be just a train that's on time, that gets you there comfortably, safe, sound, or a train that just rescues you when some disruption has happened. But I'd say, yeah, and definitely I commend the staff of what is now called LNER for giving me that journey. Also commending the staff of Virgin Trains of Avanti West Coast for their first class, and again, just in general for overall stuff. And I'd say, yeah, I commend Great Western Railway for giving you that childhood experience, Neo.
Childhood experience, thing that kind of brings a tear to my eye now. The fact they're getting rid of their good stock, it's just no, keep them.
It's
Keep
like
the
having the piece of
HST.
your childhood sort of being ripped away, sort of thing.
It literally is.
It
Like,
literally is.
it literally is for me. So
I'm gonna miss the slam doors most of all.
honestly, the fact that you can't slap a door shut after travel is upsetting.
Yeah.
The lack of being able to slam a door shut is upsetting.
And then
It's-
there's me. Train go fast. Vroom vroom.
It's like it's more like having the control of doing something like that. It's small things that we're nostalgic about. In my case, I remember one time I ended up at Stratford, and one of those older intercity trains came by. I knew they were going pretty soon, so when people left the door open, I just slammed it shut as hard as I could. To the point where one time I slammed it so hard it didn't shut. Because it unlatched itself by sheer force.
Nice one.
Yeah, I know.
Oh yeah. Thanks, Oz, for making me hungry with that with that imagery of warm buttered.
Warm buttered bread, yes.
I'm now hungry again.
And
Why do you do this to everyone?
hey, if you're hungry because of this because of this podcast, don't blame me. I just like talking about food.
You know what we haven't mentioned this podcast?
Go on.
Our sponsors.
Hey, it's just a sponsor. It's just one sponsor, and today yes, obviously, it is late. We are going to be talking about the sponsor. Considering we've been talking about transport, one of the transport things we've done is the WO10 transport blog. We are slowly rejuvenating ourselves back to our former glory of writing train posts, bus posts, and just posts about transport in general. Unfortunately, obviously, due to the current climate and situation, we cannot obviously do anything that involves current events. But we can do what we can do and talk about what had happened over the past 6 or 7 months. Because we had been away for 6 or 7 months, but now we're coming back, and visit WO10 Transport blog for a load of articles on transport at www.wotmtb.co.uk. And
Train and bus go fast.
train and bus go fast. I hope train and bus go fast, because if they don't, then you'll be going nowhere. And
no, Oswald, please.
You'll
I
be
know where that's from.
Yes, I know.
Let's
But-
hope someone else references, because I certainly don't.
It's we shall talk about this after the podcast has ended. It's going to be funny, but unfortunately, for those who are listening, you won't be able to see our after show. But one thing we do say is we do commend the staff of railway and buses and just any form of transport, logistics, and shop workers, etc., who are all trying to keep the country running during this pressing time. And we give you thanks, and we also give you thanks for just even without this current time. We thank you for moving our country and helping us travel from place to place, see friends, see family, see partners, and then realize that they're mistakes. But overall, it's
Making memories. It's making memories.
yeah, it's making memories. Go with that one.
Memories of their faces.
Some good, some bad, but overall, we always make good memories, and I give you thanks. And this indeed is also memorable. So I give thanks to Neo, who hopefully will be when things get back. We'll hope that Avanti does well for him. Neo, will Avanti do
Sorry,
well for you?
that cut out. Avanti.
Will Avanti do well for you next time? Do you hope?
Well, I won't be using them. I'll be using GWR and Chilton. Which one do you reckon I'm going to use the most?
Chilton.
Well, Chilton definitely.
Yes. Celegorm, we hope that South Western Railway will continue to serve you well.
When did it serve me well in the past?
Hey, it gets you to A to B.
No, it gets me from A to C back to B.
Hey. Blatant engineering works.
Doesn't get out of A.
Yeah, I don't get to leave A with Southwestern. I have to use Northern from now.
Hey. Teisj,
Northern Underground, to be specific.
Teisj, we hope that London North Western Railway invokes more memories for you.
As well, always so.
Yes, especially with your Scousers.
Oh, I swear to God.
Hadley, we hope that East Midlands Railway lower their prices for you at some point in their lives.
Hopefully. I'm hoping so.
We're hoping one day East Midlands Railway will be affordable.
One day.
One day.
Can dream.
And
We all wish.
Minnie, we hope that South Western Railway actually works for you for once.
I really hope so. I want them to run at least one service.
And I have to just hope. And meanwhile, I just have to hope that TfL actually run a service. If not, I'm just going to end up on the night bus.
I don't have a bus service.
Hey.
Yeah, you actually have a bus. I mean, not going to lie, but there isn't exactly much in the countryside.
Yeah, we're a bit
I'm just
stranded.
lucky I live in London.
Yeah, where the buses still work.
Buses still work, and I have to rely on South Western Railway and just darn hope that Zone 1 doesn't bite me in the backside. So we thank you for all of you for listening. We will thank you all as well for joining in the podcast. And we shall bid you a good night.
Bye.
Bye.